What's up guys, welcome back. This is anime fiction. You'll be watching What If Naruto Was Adopted by Whitebeard Part 6. Now let's begin. Chapter 53. Land of Grass. The ninjas of the Land of Grass have targeted me. At first, Whitebeard believed that Naruto's evil energy was intrinsic, a particular gift that distinguished him from other individuals. Even if this power was enormous and malevolent, but after all, it was Naruto's. Isn't this a rare talent? However, Whitebeard now discovered that Naruto was truly possessed by an extremely deadly creature that lived within his body and threatened his life. This made Whitebeard believe Naruto's biological father was exceedingly reckless. "Pops, he's not my father." Naruto was quiet for a long time before stating this. Whitebeard clearly laid out the wrongs of Naruto's biological father, and the 5-year-old Naruto became more saddened as he listened. He believed what the pops stated was correct. Why should he, a kid, suffer this? Why put such a frightening beast within his body? Konoha village is home to a large number of formidable ninjas. Why does it have to be him? Naruto bit his lip hard and forcefully said, "He is not my father. I don't want to know who he is. I only know that you, pops, are my father." "Gurarararara. Stupid son," Whitebeard said happily. "Don't think too much, I'm by your side." Naruto wiped away the frustration from his small face. He nodded firmly and smiled brightly. Within Naruto's heart, his parents, who had died many years before, were unable to provide him with warmth or familial connections. However, Whitebeard can do it. "I hope the teacher can't hear these words in heaven," Kakashi whispered to himself. In reality, he considered Minato-sensei's actions were quite reckless. The will of fire should read, "Where the leaves flutter, the fire is endless." The fire will continue to light the settlement, allowing fresh leaves to develop. This represents the elder generation sacrificing themselves for the welfare of the younger generation. But when the elder generation has sacrificed themselves, can they really let go of everything and not care about anything? Why should the youth have to bear this burden? Have you considered the young people's future? Think about it. Kakashi was absent-minded. While Kakashi was deep in meditation, he had a stunning realization. Hold on. Kakashi was abruptly surprised. As he walked after Whitebeard, his gaze drifted left and right until he came to a startling realization. This is no longer within the borders of the Land of Fire. While contemplating, he subconsciously followed Whitebeard and crossed the boundary of the Land of Fire. Which is to say, after accepting the Hokage's mission, Kakashi Hatake watched as Whitebeard led Naruto away from the Land of Fire? Right. The Hokage's order seems to only require me to follow Whitebeard, but it doesn't ask me to do anything specific. The astonishment in Kakashi's eyes gradually faded. I see, the Hokage must have had his reasons. His attention returned to the Icha-Icha paradise he was holding. Kakashi is no coward, but, with further consideration, Kakashi continued to send a ninja dog back to report. He bent down and caressed the tiny ninja dog's head. "Pakun, take this scroll back to Konoha. This task is yours." Pakun, the ninja dog, could not help but roll his eyes. It was the only ninja dog capable of speaking human language and communicating with humans. "I am a non-combatant ninja dog. You want me to do this kind of thing? This is not a fight, it's just right for your specialty." A grin flashed behind Kakashi's mask. "Ninja dog Pakun. Gurarararara. White-haired brat, the different kingdoms in your ninja world do not seem to have any distinctions." Whitebeard was aware that Kakashi had sent a tiny dog back to report. But Whitebeard didn't care. Because this is a small country, Kakashi remembered their present position, and even without a map, his incredible memory clarified everything in his mind. If I'm not mistaken, this should be the Land of Grass, a neighboring small country located northwest of Konoha village. Kakashi clarified. Although there are also ninja villages in such small countries, due to their small size, it is difficult for them to form unique cultural geography, and they are vastly different from the 5 great nations. This is significantly different from One Piece. In the realm of pirates, even 2 nearby islands might have completely distinct styles. But these are the nations of the ninja world, especially in some smaller nations. Major nations have totally merged their cultural patterns, while the majority of tiny countries have no distinguishing traits. And this grassy country, that is one of them. Does the presence of a ninja village in this nation imply the existence of a cage? Naruto, who had regained his feelings and was leaving Konoha village and the land of fire for the first time, was intrigued by everything. Kakashi shook his head and said, not every country's greatest ninja in the village can be dubbed Kage. By tradition, only the strongest of the 5 great nations may be addressed as Kage by others. We'd better not cause trouble here, Kakashi gently reminded us, otherwise, it's very likely to cause a diplomatic incident between the Konoha village and the Kusagakure village. As soon as this admonition was given, Kakashi halted. He discovered that this reminder was ineffective in reminding anybody. Remember Naruto? What mischief could a 5-year-old child cause? Remind Whitebeard. This. He is not from Konohagakure village at all. Whitebeard is a pirate. Forget what I said. Hey. What's up with this giant? And the white-haired man wearing a mask seems familiar. Could he be wearing the Konoha village's forehead protector? In the distance, 3 ninjas held telescopes and discreetly observed Whitebeard, Kakashi, and Naruto. The 3 persons eavesdropping in secret were Kusagakure village ninjas. In the end, Whitebeard and his crew bravely entered the land of grass, and his intimidating presence was difficult to miss. Under such conditions, it is impossible for the Kusa village ninjas who have seen this group of people to ignore them. Konoha forehead protector, white hair, and mask, man. Among them, a Kusa village ninja hurriedly removed a tiny pamphlet from his bosom, after turning about a dozen pages. He was shocked. This guy is the copy ninja of the Konohagakure village, Kakashi of the Sharingan. What? The other 2 Kusagakure ninjas said, astonished. That pamphlet included a list of sought ninjas from several towns. The name, Hitaki Kakashi, plainly indicated that his reward was 30 million ryo. Gulp. The 3 Kusagakure ninjas gulped secretly. Both Kakashi's reputation and his bounty astounded them. Quickly return and report to the leader. One of them looked concerned and dashed off. The ninja from Konohagakure village has unexpectedly arrived in the land of grass. There must be something wrong. You 2 keep an eye on them. Don't let them leave your sight, don't let them discover you. The other 2 ninjas from Kusagakure village instantly nodded. They held their telescopes and attentively observed Whitebeard and others in the distance. The gap between us and Whitebeard and the others was at least 1 kilometer. They assumed the distance was safe. Until, in their telescopes, they saw one of the 3 persons, a huge, look at them. They were so terrified that their telescopes collapsed to the ground. Cold sweat burst out on their backs and foreheads. Is it a coincidence? What a rundown country. It can't compare to the land of fire at all. Naruto saw a settlement in the land of grass not far away. He scratched his head and remarked, Dad, is there any need to rob such a place? It is more correct to call it a village than a town. It was even more primitive than the communities of the land of fire. Looking around, he could only see ancient wooden homes. The residences' exteriors were not exceptionally brightly colored. It gave off a melancholy vibe. Don't compare major countries with minor ones. Can minor countries compare with major ones? Kakashi sighed, and can you stop thinking about robbery whenever you see a town? Kakashi believed that Whitebeard had led Naruto astray. Who trains their kid to become a pirate, at the moment? Whitebeard and his company, who had invaded a decrepit village in the grass country, startled the people a lot. A scary-looking behemoth and a ninja wearing a Konoha headband. They were certainly not to be messed with. As for Naruto, he was ignored. After all, this was not Konoha. No one would notice a blonde child here. Before long, Whitebeard and his companions arrived to a pub in the decrepit village. With a horrified look on the bar owner's face, Whitebeard smiled and said, Bring out all the fine wine and meat you have here. My stupid son needs to eat a lot of meat every day when he's growing. Okay. The tavern owner was so terrified that his legs went mushy. He virtually slipped into the kitchen, resting against the wall. The scenario. Kakashi twitched at the corners of his lips. But he had to agree that occasionally being intimidating was beneficial. There's no need to be courteous or modest. People would just listen to you faithfully. People are terrified of death, after all. While Whitebeard and his companions were dining inside Kusagakure village in the land of grass. Haha, my lord, everything can be discussed. The Kusagakure village head took a money box presented by the grass country's ruler. He narrowed his eyes and grinned. We ninjas do our jobs. My lord doesn't need to worry too much. HMPH. I hope so. The daimyo of the land of grass is a man. He had so much fat on his physique that it seemed he was pregnant. He is dressed in fancy attire and has a spherical fan in his hand. The lord looked at the chief of Kusagakure village and said, I have a time requirement. I need his head within a month, and it must be kept very intact. If the head is not intact, I can't use it as a specimen for the exhibition. In that case, I won't pay the remaining money. A dignified daimyo, speaking in a calm tone. They said terrible words. No problem. Please leave it to us. The head of Kusagakure village grinned. Bang. Suddenly, the office door was forcefully shoved open, and a ninja from the grass village rushed in, shocking the daimyo of the land of grass. But when he realized it was a ninja, the daimyo breathed a sigh of relief. He grimaced and murmured, You ninjas, why don't you understand manners, and don't you know to knock before entering? I'm sorry. It's my lack of discipline. The chief of the grass ninja village frowned at the trespassing ninja and said, What's with all the panic? Leader, there's a situation. The Kusagakure ninja spoke faintly. He described what he had seen and heard, leaving the chief of Kusagakure village shocked and his brow wrinkled even more. Konoha village, Hitaki Kakashi. And a giant? The chief of the Kusagakure village wondered. Why would the ninjas from Konoha village come to the land of grass? He had not received a diplomatic visit notification from Konoha village. Which is to say, Konoha village's ninjas slipped into the land of grass. And the guest was none other than the renowned Hitaki Kakashi. Konoha village Jonin received a reward of 30 million ryo on the black market. Oh, a giant? The daimyo of the land of grass had no idea who Hitaki Kakashi was, but he was extremely interested in the giant referenced by the ninja. His plump cheeks twitched, and he even smiled. Is it some giant syndrome patient? It's a giant over 6 meters tall, the ninja hurriedly responded. Over 6 meters tall? The daimyo was taken aback, and his curiosity grew. Isn't a giant's head over 6 meters tall bigger than 10 people's heads? Such a large head made into a specimen would surely astonish many people, wouldn't it? He licked his lips, with no regard for life on his face. He just had an attitude that treated life as ants. I'm going to assign you another ninja mission. The daimyo of the land of grass glanced at the leader of the grass ninja village and said, I'll give you 5 million ryo, and I also want that giant's head. It must be perfectly intact, with no damage. Daimyo-sama, next to the giant is Hitaki Kakashi from Leaf Village. He is a man who once had a bounty of 30 million ryo. The chief of Kusagakure village squinted. A mission reward of 5 million ryo is a bit risky for our Kusagakure village. 10 million ryo. The daimyo said, I'm not short of money. If you can get this done, I'll give the Kusagakure village 10 million ryo, and an additional 5 million ryo just for you, the leader. As for that something I won't interfere or touch his bounty of 30 million ryo. Oh right. The daimyo went on, next year is the time for the Kusagakure village to re-elect a new leader. I think you are very suitable to serve 2 terms as the leader of the Kusagakure village. What do you think? The head of the Kusagakure village instantly rose up, saying, My lord, I believe I am qualified to serve 2 terms as the leader of the Kusagakure village. His face was radiant with a grin. Even if the Kusagakure village exhausts all its strength, it will get that giant's head from Konoha village for my lord. He reassured the daimyo. Only after seeing off the lord of the land of grass did the leader of the Kusagakure village's grin disappear. He looked at the ninja who had barged into his office. You didn't hear anything, do you understand? The Kusagakure village head said, his face expressionless. Stand. Poochie. A sharp kunai sliced through the ninja's neck. The chief of Kusagakure village remained cool, saying, I suddenly feel that only dead people won't talk too much. Ignore the corpse that slumped on the ground. The chief of Kusagakure village patted the money box presented by the lord. He grumbled, Hitaki Kakashi, who is rumored to have copied thousands of ninjutsu and also has a rumored Sharingan. In fact, the instant he realized Kakashi had come in the grass country. The chief of Kusagakure village was a little nervous. As a little nation stuck in the middle, Kusagakure village is said to be the most shameless. They would blatantly copy other communities' ninja skills. In order to plagiarize ninja skills, they would murder ninjas from other nations and collect knowledge from their remains, thus attaining the ninjutsu of a foreign village. Those ninjas who travel through the land of grass will be targeted by the Kusagakure village and added to a ninja village's kill list. Become a target for assassination. Gurarararara. My body has returned to its normal state. What a relief. Whitebeard had already consumed 8 jugs of powerful whiskey. He laughed boisterously, radiating the distinct odor of alcohol from every pore of his body. Growing elderly and troubled by several hidden ailments, Whitebeard seldom had a decent drink, and when he did, his sons chastised him. But now he doesn't care. Although he wasn't at his peak, a few drinks couldn't harm. After all, what type of pirate wouldn't drink? Weapons, wine, riches, ships, and comrades. This is the life of a pirate. They're all necessary. Pouring the 9th jug of whiskey into his mouth, Whitebeard took a big dish from the table and began filling himself with the cooked meat. In the presence of an ordinary person, it is a very big dish, but in the presence of Whitebeard, it is just like any other. This sensation of eating meat and drinking excessively. It's really nostalgic. In a drunken haze, Whitebeard appeared to hear all of his dumb sons enjoying a feast around him, heartily welcome Naruto to join the Whitebeard pirates. Gurarararara. Whitebeard stared down at Naruto, who was eating enthusiastically, and put out a finger to muss up his hair. Foolish son. When you grow up a few years, Dad will take you to get a tattoo of the Whitebeard pirates. Whitebeard chuckled heartily. Tattoo? Naruto's mouth was loaded with hamburger, making his words a little indistinct. The enormous cloak that hung over Whitebeard was removed, revealing the tattoo on his back. Naruto was instantly excited. Do I have to get the same tattoo on my back in the future? You can get it anywhere. Whitebeard chuckled. Every crew member of the Whitebeard pirates has exactly the same tattoo. Naruto started to ponder. In the future, he will get the Whitebeard tattoo. Where should he acquire the Whitebeard pirates symbol? On the side, Kakashi was reading Icha Icha Paradise while eating a skewer of grilled meat and muttered to himself. In a few years, Naruto will still be a child. Should he get a tattoo so young? He glanced at Whitebeard, who was giggling uncontrollably. He sighed softly. Never mind, he wasn't expecting a pirate to teach Naruto properly. It would be beneficial if Naruto could experience familial love. However, weren't the 3 of them a little too visible in the land of grass? The ninjas of the land of grass wouldn't have spotted them, would they? I hope nothing happens. Kakashi wasn't really concerned about Naruto, mostly because he was on Naruto's side, as was Whitebeard. Who could possibly touch Naruto? He was most concerned that the ninjas of the land of grass would not know better and would provoke someone they shouldn't. In that circumstance, it would be problematic. Whitebeard and others ate this supper throughout the day and night. Naruto and Kakashi had been unable to eat for quite some time, mostly because Whitebeard had a huge appetite, and there weren't many cooks in the pub. They worked themselves to death but couldn't prepare many meals. Whitebeard only stopped eating once all of the cooks in the pub were fatigued. Whitebeard said, "White-haired brat, pay the bill." Kakashi says, "Don't you and Naruto have a lot of money?" Kakashi had to struggle for his wallet. And besides, Lord Whitebeard, aren't you a pirate? The insinuation is, don't all pirates dine and dash? Fool. The Whitebeard pirates are not like those sea scum, he said, flicking his finger at him. Bang. The anguish caused Kakashi's eyes to flare out. Kakashi quickly objected, holding his forehead. Hey, I'm not Naruto. Whitebeard said with empty eyes, have you ever seen me dine and dash? Kakashi was going to reply, every meal of yours is dine and dash. However, he immediately froze. Phew. When Kakashi regained his composure, he realized that, although Whitebeard never paid, someone else did, so it wasn't a free lunch. So, Lord Whitebeard, the money you and Naruto snatched. Kakashi was disappointed. Whitebeard ate a large dinner. That's enough money for me to build the new Whitebeard pirate ship, Whitebeard said righteously. Kakashi says, although Kusagakure village is situated in the land of grass hinterland, the country's total territory is only around the size of a few towns in the land of fire. The chief of Kusagakure village chose to act now rather than later. Today, they will carry out an assassination attempt. The prime objective is, of course, the daimyo's giant skull, followed by Konohagakure village's copy ninja, Hitaki Kakashi. The two assassination targets. At least one must be completed. If Hitaki Kakashi of Sharingan is nothing more than a name, get rid of him. They may learn dozens of different ninja techniques indirectly by studying Kakashi's physique. But if Kakashi is powerful, the assassination squad in Kusagakure village will be unable to stop him. Then, firmly abandon this attractive aim. Simply take away the giant's head. The assassination operation is very important to the Kusagakure village chief. He invited 20 members of the Kusagakure village's dark department to participate. The fact that he almost depleted the dark department's soldiers demonstrates how important he considers this operation. You know, the Kusagakure village's Anbu has more than 30 members. It cannot be compared to the 5 great nations at all. Right. The Kusagakure village chief told a subordinate. Hitaki Kakashi is not simple. Bring that woman along. If we can keep Hitaki Kakashi from Konohagakure village, even if we completely drain her this time, it doesn't matter. After all, she still has a daughter, stated the Kusagakure village head. When her daughter is a year or two old, she, too, can be used. Yes. Lord. Quick. The leader has an order. Anbu, gather quickly. Hurry. Gather now. Gather. Gather. The uproar in Kusagakure village inevitably drew the attention of many people, including a unique mother and daughter. They dwell in a home guarded by Kusagakure village ninjas and have no means of escape. Even in the ninja world, redheads like them are pretty uncommon. Mommy, what is going outside? Karen, a red-haired young girl of Naruto's age, gazed out the window, worried, and told her mother, the ninjas outside seem to be very anxious. Then she spotted her mother changing her clothing. She was changing from comfy house clothing to ninja fighting attire. Mommy? Karen's moist eyes widened. Her expression was one of perplexity. Karen, maybe mommy is needed by the village. Karen's mother, who is only in her 20s this year, has emaciated and thinned her pale skin. Bang! Just then, 2 ninjas from the grass ninja village violently kicked in their home door. Hey! Woman! The hooded ninja from Kusagakure village murmured maliciously. Let's go. Do not procrastinate. There is a circumstance in which you are required. Also, remove your Kusagakure ninja forehead protector. This time, we can't reveal or identify. Do you understand what the mission is? Karen's mother took a deep breath, automatically hiding her daughter behind her. May I inquire how many missions there are? She seemed so skinny and feeble that a blow of wind might knock her down. There are 2 assassination missions. The Anbu from Kusagakure village didn't say anything. His glance swept over Karen's mother before landing on Karen. He clicked his tongue. You've reared your daughter with tenderness. Maybe she may also be beneficial. No, Karen is still young, Uzumaki Fushi hastily replied. She won't stay youthful for long. We didn't invite you, mother and daughter, to dine for free here. The Kusagakure Anbu dropped the sentence and departed with Karen's mother. Only Karen remained in the vast room. She gazed blankly at her mother's fleeing figure and the ill-intentioned Kusagakure Anbu. The Uzumaki clan's intrinsic sensing ability informed her that all of those masked ninjas were nasty people. But she couldn't do anything about it. I'm so useless. Late in the night, in a deteriorating tiny village in the grass country, Naruto awoke in the middle of the night because he had another dream about the tailed beast, who was still badmouthing his old grandpa Whitebeard, prompting Naruto to quarrel with it in the ceiling area. Then, he was awoken by rage. What an obnoxious, stinky fox! Naruto couldn't help but murmur. He had accepted the truth that there was a monster within him, but that didn't stop him from loathing it. For Naruto, as long as his father did not discriminate against or hate him, even if there were 9 demons inside him, he didn't care. Every time I dream of that nasty fox, it badmouths my parents and tries to deceive me into ripping off that piece of paper. Naruto stuck out his tongue. Blah blah blah. I am not a huge fool. Although Naruto was unsure what that piece of paper was, but he realized the stinking fox was no good. Oh no, I drank too much. Naruto's expression became uneasy. and he hastily got out of his bed. He opened the door to his room, and walked outside to locate a restroom. Woo woo woo, finally, I found it. After more than 2 minutes, he finally noticed a structure that looked like a toilet, but just as he was ready to push the door open, his face became frigid. Old. Hush. It's me. Kakashi. Kakashi quickly covered Naruto's lips to keep him from making a lot of noise. In the end, when Naruto awoke, Kakashi also awoke. But Kakashi quickly saw that something was awry. The inn where they were temporarily staying was so silent that they couldn't hear any footsteps. It was entirely different from when they originally moved in. As an Anbu Junin of Konohagakure village, Kakashi got attentive and followed Naruto all the way until he entered the restroom, when he finally showed himself. Listen, Naruto. Kakashi lowered his voice and stated, someone may be pursuing our life. I'm not sure whether those individuals are targeting you or me. He gently relaxed his fingers around Naruto's lips. Naruto's eyes widened. Uncle Kakashi, are we encountering enemies? I do not know. Kakashi shook his head. I hope it's not an enemy, but this idea may be overly optimistic. Then, Pops, Naruto was concerned about Whitebeard. Don't worry, Whitebeard might have noticed something wrong even earlier than I did, stated Kakashi. I found that he has a very special perception ability. In reality, what Kakashi stated was accurate. At the moment, his body was suffering from concealed ailments. Whitebeard's observation haki was sometimes effective, sometimes not. But after being cured by Tsunade and Shizune, Whitebeard discovered that his observation haki had recovered to the point that he could utilize it at will. Even a non-sensory ninja like Kakashi could tell something was awry. Not to mention Whitebeard, who uses observation haki. At this point, Whitebeard was resting outdoors. He couldn't fit inside the little inns of the ninja world, so the innkeeper had to gather a lot of mattresses and put together a big bed outdoors for Whitebeard to sleep. Whitebeard was already sleeping comfortably on the pieced-together mattress, his Murakumogiri at least a few meters distant. Whoosh! 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 A barely heard sound broke out, and on each nearby tree, many concealed people stood alone. One by one, Anbu from Kusagakure village emerged silently. They successfully locked off the whole inn. Their attention landed on Whitebeard. Whitebeard's enormous bodily proportions made it difficult for them to avoid him. Especially given that Whitebeard was also sleeping outside the inn. That made him much more attractive. Is this the giant that our leader mentioned? Kusagakure Anbu moistened his parched lips. He imagined he could only hear himself muttering. Indeed, this is really a giant. This guy has such a thick neck. How many cuts would it take to cut off his head? And this behemoth didn't appear to notice their movement. So he was simply a typical large dude, at most, owing of his great stature. His strength was rather great, but with so many Anbu assassinated, how important is increased strength? Becoming a ninja, it's all about the strategy. One by one, the Anbu of Kusagakure village exchanged wordless signals. In less than 10 seconds, they had settled on their next fighting strategy. Then, a group of Kusagakure Anbu removed numerous kunai from their ninja tool bags. Under the moonlight, each kunai gave out a slight green glow, indicating that it was toxic. One of the Kusagakure Anbu unexpectedly made a move. Suddenly, the murderous purpose sprang out. Nobody would be so naive as to inform their victim while assassinating someone. Not a single Kusagakure Anbu made a noise. They firmly tossed the kunai into their hands. Kunai soared in the air, one after the other. Ha! Got him. It seems this giant is just taller. This guy is not a ninja. Just as they were celebrating, the next instant, their expressions hardened. The speed at which the kunai flew at Whitebeard was equal to the pace at which they were deflected. Sparks appeared inconspicuously on Whitebeard's skin. It seemed that it was caused by the kunai colliding with his skin. What? Does his body made of iron? The kunai could not break through at all. This exceeded their expectations. The skin of the giant's chest was plainly visible. Why can't sharp weapons penetrate flesh and blood? Gurarararara. A sudden chuckle sounded like a death knell in each grass ninja Anbu's ear. Where did these little ninja brats come from? Did they chase me out of Konoha? Whitebeard has already opened his eyes. He sat up, as if no Kusagakure Anbu on the scene could avoid his sight. So annoying. Little brats. Damn. I made a wrong judgment. Despite their nasty attitudes, they created seals without hesitation, employing the Konohagakure ninja technique. Fire release. Great fireball technique. So many ninjas used the fire release technique at the same moment. Even if the Kusagakure Anbu were quite weak, however, they had the edge in numbers. A slew of great fireball techniques came tumbling down, lighting up half of the barren town's sky with flames. Fire again? Can't they come up with any different tricks? Whitebeard punched out, disappointed. This punch did not employ armament hockey, conqueror's hockey, or the devil fruit ability. It was sheer physical might that exploded into the air. A sharp sound followed by a sonic boom emerged. The invisible storm that was created immediately drowned out the blazing flames, and several of the Kusagakure Anbu were blown away in their shocked faces. They fell more than 10 meters away. What kind of ninjutsu is that? Their faces were appalled. They didn't observe Whitebeard create seals at all. Right then, Whitebeard stepped to one side, already holding his Murakumogiri on the ground. A courageous grin emerged on his lips, and he slashed out horizontally. Murakumogiri's wind pressure was like a rapid and accurate onslaught. The Kusagakure Anbu was unable to respond due to the extreme speed. The so-called Kusagakure Anbu, however, cannot compare to Konohagakure's Anbu. Any Chunin in Konohagakure's Anbu, there may be a Junin ninja in Kusa's Anbu. If it had been a Junin from Konohagakure's Anbu, they would have known what was attacking them. But the Kusagakure Anbu did not respond at all. They just sensed a wind moving in front of them. Then their corpses had been sliced in half. A Kusagakure Anbu merely felt like he had lost his footing and fallen down. When he tried to land steadily, he realized that he had no control over his lower body. He was taken aback by what he saw out of the corner of his eye. His lower body remained on the tree. The agony struck quickly. Ah! He shouted and collapsed to the ground. His inside organs and other belongings were thrown all over the ground. Fear and anguish caused him to shout and yell in one direction. Damn woman! You come over here, come over here, come over here and let me bite you. A red-haired lady shaking with fright was hiding behind a large tree in his field of vision. Bastard! You! If you don't let me bite you, your daughter is dead. The word, daughter, made the lady shudder all over her body. She could only bite her lip and rush out from behind the tree. Then she dashed to the screaming Kusagakure Anbu. She pushed up her sleeves, revealing her fair arm covered with bite marks. The Kusagakure Anbu, who had just one breath left, bit down hard and quickly chewed through her flesh. He was sucking heavily on her blood within. This made the already thin-faced lady seem much paler. However, before he could gulp a few more mouthfuls, a heavy footstep next to him caused his countenance to harden. And his actions paused. Little brat, as a man and warrior, don't threaten anyone's family. Whitebeard's attitude was bleak. In the face of the unending terror of the Kusagakure Anbu, he raised his foot and stomped down, as if treading on a mouse. Poochie. Just like walking on a tomato. There was a tremendous volume of crimson liquid splashing in every direction beneath his foot. Cracks were trampled out throughout the earth. A deep trench was created. Monster, monster. The surviving Kusagakure Anbu were fortunate. They had not yet met such a sad end, but they saw their colleagues perish swiftly. In virtually an instant, less than 5 of the 20 Kusagakure Anbu survived. Quick! Run! They were aware of the penalties of deserting in the midst of a mission, but they were even more certain of what would happen if they remained here. Quickly go back and tell the leader. This is a giant who is countless times more terrifying than a Konohagakure Jonin. Unfortunately, it was too late. Whitebeard showed no compassion. He flung his sword back. The Kusagakure Anbu felt their backs as if they had been struck by a raging elephant. Poof! They spewed blood from their lips, and the wind pressure destroyed half of the corpses wrapped up by the Murakumogiri, leaving blood and broken flesh all over the ground. All of the assassination, disguise, and escape strategies they mastered were rendered ineffective in the face of ultimate authority. They could not utilize them at all, almost entirely destroyed. The phrase, almost, was added because, in front of Whitebeard's feet, There was a young red-haired lady who was terrified and fell on her buttocks, her face filled with astonishment and horror. Whitebeard could see the thick tooth-mark scars on her arm. Removing the scars would be a lifelong struggle. "Kid, your hair reminds me of another kid." Whitebeard's attention went to the woman's red hair, and a glint of nostalgia appeared in his eyes. "Pops. Are you okay? Naruto." Naruto and Kakashi's sounds sounded from within the inn. Naruto hurried out of the inn, leaving Kakashi twitching at the corner of his lips, gripping Naruto's shredded garments. Initially, he did not want Naruto to appear. Ultimately, Naruto is just 5 years old. It's not wartime anymore. If anything occurs, he had no idea what he would tell Minato-sensei and Kushina in paradise decades later. Naruto, 5 years old, was unexpectedly stronger than he had anticipated. He tore his garments instantly. "Pops. Pops." Naruto's words cut off suddenly as he hurried out of the inn. The scenario in front of him was a little too graphic for him at this age. There were bloodstains and shattered corpses everywhere. The sharp stench of blood was overpowering. "It is spooky." Gulp. Naruto's throat squirmed. This was many times more gory than other sights he had seen. Is this the world of adults? Is this the realm of ninjas? "I told you not to come out." Kakashi sighed gently as she stood behind Naruto. Kakashi, who had previously participated in a ninja war, had become used to and immune to such graphic images. He gazed at Whitebeard. A mysterious lady standing next to Whitebeard drew his eyes involuntarily. Kakashi's pupils contracted as a head of red hair flooded his heart with millions of memories. "Kushina." Kakashi mentioned a name. His expression was one of disbelief. "Until." His voice and Naruto's appeared to pique her interest. The red-haired lady turned her head in surprise. The bizarre visage did not resemble Kushina in all, jolting Kakashi awake from his recollections. "Oh, it turns out it's not Kushina." Kakashi was astonished. But a head of red hair is difficult to overlook. A survivor of the Uzumaki clan? Whitebeard-sama. Kakashi, who rushed up, urgently shouted, "Please show mercy. This woman might have some connection with Naruto." Kakashi didn't need to beg for compassion. This red-haired lady would be unaffected by Whitebeard. It is not true that Whitebeard would never harm a woman. But it's because Whitebeard heard exactly what the Kusagakure Anbu said to the red-haired lady. Kusagakure village has kidnapped this woman's family, and she is in danger. This is terrible and shameless conduct. That is what Whitebeard dislikes the most. However, when Kakashi said, "related to Naruto," Whitebeard became intrigued. "Oh, this red-haired brat is related to my stupid son?" "Yes." Kakashi said with solemnity. "If I'm not mistaken, she should be from the Uzumaki clan." I didn't expect someone from the Uzumaki clan to appear in the land of grass. Uzumaki clan. Tisk. What is Uzumaki? Whitebeard has no idea what the Uzumaki clan is, but he does know that his foolish kid is named Uzumaki Naruto. She is related to me? Naruto was a little puzzled. What did a red-haired big sister with a sudden appearance have to do with him? I'm not from the Uzumaki clan. What are you talking about? I don't understand at all. Uzumaki Fushi gulped uneasily. She recognized she was no longer in control of her situation. Kakashi said, "Your nervousness has betrayed you." "Hey." Naruto clenched his teeth and said, "Since you have the same surname as me, Uzumaki, why did you attack my father?" Karen's mother's name is Uzumaki Fushi. Naruto's question caught her off guard. She looked at Naruto. Are you also an Uzumaki? Why do you have blonde hair? Are you half?" Mostly because of Naruto's striking golden hair, it is not like the Uzumaki clan members. She bowed her head and said, "I haven't attacked you guys. From beginning to end, I just stood behind the tree. They won't give me any ninja tools because in the eyes of those Anbu ninjas, I'm just a mobile medical blood bag." "Anbu ninja?" Kakashi said, glancing at the smashed remains on the ground. He saw no ninja forehead protection on the victims, nor any other ninja-related indications. "Which ninja village are they from?" Kakashi asked. "They're from Kusagakure village." Under the gaze of Whitebeard and Kakashi, Uzumaki Fushi felt an incredible amount of strain. She did not want to divulge too much information, to avoid incriminating her daughter. However, her overwhelming anxiety, combined with the scent of blood in the air, rendered her unable to control her impulses. So Uzumaki Fushi had to respond with a little resentful tone. They are all Anbu ninjas from Kusagakure village. Damn it. Why did that Kusagakure village attack my pops? Naruto was becoming frustrated. We didn't provoke them. We don't even know them. Uzumaki Fushi softly replied. On the way here, one of the Kusagakure Anbu mentioned that because Daimyo in Land of Grass wants Giant's head as his specimen collection. And because Hitaki Kakashi that has mastered thousands of ninja techniques. Once they can get these techniques from him, Kusagakure village can make rapid progress in its foundation and strength. So, their leader launched an assassination operation. Garerara. Head. Whitebeard couldn't help but raise an eyebrow. He could see that the red-haired child was not lying. He chuckled out loud without caring. I didn't imagine that going to this location in grass country, there would be people who want my head. Are they underestimating me? Do a pack of cats and dogs want to remove my head? Kakashi, with lifeless fish eyes, indicated utter hopelessness. How did it become tied to Kakashi? Some measures taken by the Kusagakure village. I've heard a little about them. Kakashi was speechless. I thought it was just a rumor, but they really did it. They were only going through the land of grass. However, the Kusagakure village attacked them, intending to murder Kakashi and take his ninjutsu secrets. This caused Kakashi a headache. Speaking of which, as a member of the Uzumaki clan, why would you stay in such an abnormal ninja village? Kakashi couldn't help but scowl. Where else in the entire ninja world can the Uzumaki clan go? Uzumaki Fushi's slender visage became more sour. Kakashi made the suggestion. Isn't Konohagakure close to Uzushiogakure? I remember. The relationship between Uzushiogakure and Konohagakure is very good. If that relationship was useful, where was Konoha's support on the day Uzushiogakure was attacked and destroyed? Uzumaki Fushi has a lengthy history of gloom and sadness in her life. She was filled with death as she slumped on the ground. Uzumaki Fushi went on to say, but that's also something from the older generation said. I was very young at that time. After that, I wandered around the ninja world for more than 10 years. During that time, I also had a child. After my child was born, I raised her while I came to the Kusagakure village. In the end, we were taken in by the Kusagakure village. Her tone conveys a sense of remorse. She didn't mind being in a den of wickedness. However, Uzumaki Fushi felt especially bad about putting her kid in a nest of wickedness. And she felt bad for her daughter. She could only live a harsh life in Kusagakure village. For as long as she lived, her daughter would not be regarded like a bloodbag. But, given the present position, living is a privilege. Sister, what's wrong with your hand? Naruto observed that Uzumaki Fushi's arm was covered in horrific bite scars. One of the bite scars was quite visible and is still bleeding to this day. Uzumaki Fushi touched the scar on her arm. I heard that in addition to being able to use powerful sealing techniques, the Uzumaki clan also has a very special kind of recovery ability. Kakashi's dead fish eye was gloomy. Those guys often use your blood to heal their wounds, right? Kakashi naturally alluded to the Grass Ninja Village ninjas. Your child has also been used by them as a spare part, right? Uzumaki Fushi stayed mute, given these situations. Uzumaki Fushi was biting her lip fiercely when she felt a little hand grip her arm. She gazed up in amazement. She discovered that the small guy with yellow hair had joined her side at some time. Sister, do you want to bite my hand? Naruto was serious. I'm also an Uzumaki. If you drink some of my blood, maybe your scars will heal. It's bad for a girl to have so many scars on her body. Naruto was outraged and angry. Those guys are too much. How can they bully a big sister like this? Uzumaki Fushi was astonished. She had not expected a weird small child to be so friendly to her, particularly after following a gang of ninjas to deal with them. Her eyes went instantaneously crimson. Tears flowed. When Kakashi saw this, the melancholy in his dead fish eyes dissipated, exposing a shocked expression. He thought to himself, it seems that Naruto hasn't been taught wrongly by Whitebeard. Whitebeard. Maybe he teaches better than third Hokage? Whitebeard said, stupid son, do you want to take care of this matter? Naruto paused for less than 2 seconds before saying, "Pops, I want to take care of this matter. Those people are ninjas. How can they be like this?" His voice sounds quite juvenile, but it is crucial. Gurararararara. Whitebeard burst out laughing. "Stupid son. What you said is not domineering at all. You should say, this matter will be handled by the Whitebeard pirates." Uzumaki Fushi was bewildered. She felt as if she was dreaming, but the agony from her wound made her understand she wasn't. She did not anticipate these individuals to slaughter 20 Kusagakure Anbu. I really wanted to stick up for her, a stranger. She was perplexed. Unbelievable. Isn't that blonde-haired boy called Uzumaki Naruto a happy child? In this case, would he defend a stranger? He even suggested she consume his blood to recuperate. Of course. Uzumaki Fushi graciously turned down Naruto's generosity. Actually, she was little bewildered as she led the way ahead of Whitebeard and the others. She couldn't understand why she had instantly become a traitor. After all, since the Kusagakure village accepted her and her kid, she has inevitably become a Kusagakure ninja. As a Kusagakure village ninja, she is now leading a bunch of deadly strangers directly to the village. Is this a betrayal? Perhaps this is for Karen. Karen is too young. She cannot let Karen remain in that den of wickedness, even if it means putting her own life at danger. With these ideas in mind, Uzumaki Fushi's heart became steadfast. She forced herself to tolerate her body's frailty, and proceeded to lead the way. Kakashi wasn't sure what to say anymore. His mind warned him that rushing to another ninja village and attempting to assault it would undoubtedly result in a big diplomatic problem. The essential point is that it even concerns the daimyo of Land of Grass. What if Whitebeard is not happy with destroying a single ninja hamlet? He wants to attack a country's daimyo. That'd be horrible, but what can Kakashi do? What can he do in this scenario? This is the choice reached by Whitebeard and Naruto, father and son. He seems to have no say in the issue. Just go with the flow. Kakashi abandoned persuasion and resistance. In any case, if a severe diplomatic problem develops, a group of high-level officials in Konohagakure village should be the most concerned. This has nothing to do with him. Only 2 adults, a 5-year-old kid, and a traitor from Kusagakure community are up against a whole ninja community. This sounds like suicide. But Kakashi knew that Whitebeard was capable of defeating the 3rd Hokage. The man, it's amazing. Late in the night, 4 o'clock in the morning. Today so many Anbu ninjas left the village. I don't know what happened. It wouldn't be another war coming, would it? The ninjas protecting the entrance of Kusagakure village were much poorer than those in Konohagakure village. The ninjas at Konohagakure village's gate are all 2 exceptional chunin. However, there are just 2 genin protecting the entrance of Kusagakure village. Among them, one Kusagakure genin expressed concern. The Great Ninja War just ended. Surely another war isn't about to break out? Tisk. A different genin replied. Can you not say such unlucky things in the middle of the night? Besides, even if there really is a war coming, so what? He laughed. We are at least a country with a ninja village. Moreover, we also have that mother-daughter pair. As these words dropped, 2 Kusagakure genin exchanged silent savage smiles. There's movement. Suddenly, Kusagakure genin's pupils contracted. He immediately heard a peculiar noise coming from a short distance away. Over there, looking out of the village in the dim moonlight, they could see a big shadow coming. The enormous shadow seemed to be walking. With each movement, a faint footstep could be detected. Each one touched their hearts, causing the 2 of them to burst into a cold sweat. What is that? A giant bear. They hastily switched on the searchlight beside them. They used the twisted technology tree of the ninja world to illuminate the area in front of the village gate with a bright searchlight. Suddenly, the area in front was beautifully illuminated. Giant. Giant. When Whitebeard's towering figure came, they all gasped in surprise. Whitebeard was bare-chested and muscular on his abdomen as they looked at him. Behind him was a white cloak. In his hand was a massive naginata. In the darkness, the sensation of persecution was heightened. Hold on. There are others. One of the 2 gatekeepers was more alert. It's that woman. It's that red-haired woman. Damn it. He muttered with an unpleasant expression. That woman, could she have become a traitor? Quick. Go and report to the leader. Subordinates awoke the head of Kusagakure village from his slumber tonight. He awoke irritated and intended to reprimand his subordinate. However, he did not anticipate to get terrible news. Daimyos, Giant, and Hitaki Kakashi emerged outside Kusagakure village. They brought with them Uzumaki Fushi, the lady. The Kusagakure village leader's pupils shrank somewhat. Giant, Hitaki Kakashi, Uzumaki Fushi, and a blonde kid? Such an unusual mix made the Kusagakure village chief feel that something significant was about to occur tonight. Because he knew so well. In the earlier part of the night, he had only let the Anbu take Uzumaki Fushi, this blood bag tool lady, to kill the monster and Hitaki Kakashi. However, his subordinate informed him that Uzumaki Fushi was the only Kusagakure ninja he had dispatched beyond the village. What exactly does this mean? The assassination attempt is likely to have failed. There were 20 Kusagakure Anbu, but none survived. At the finish, Uzumaki Fushi was the only survivor. And this lady betrayed the Kusagakure village. Damn it. After thinking about it, the Kusagakure village leader's visage may be regarded as incredibly ugly. He gave his employees an instant directive. Immediately now. Gather all the ninjas in the village. Then go and inform Daimyo, who is temporarily staying in Kusagakure village, to quickly take his servants to avoid disaster in the back mountain of Kusagakure village. Also, go to Hazuka Castle. The leader of Kusagakure village went on. Although that man has always claimed that Hazuka Castle is a neutral camp, he is after all from Kusagakure village. I don't believe that when a ninja village is attacked by foreign village ninjas, he will still be indifferent. By the way, make sure you capture Uzumaki Fushi's daughter for me. Don't let that little troublemaker escape. Yes, Lord. The Kusagakure ninja who arrived to report on the situation saw for the first time that their boss could be so frightened. Wait. Have someone from the intelligence department send a radio telegram to Konohagakure, ask why Hitaki Kakashi was spotted near the Kusagakure village. Yes. The chief of Kusagakure village feels that by taking the initiative to counterattack first, he would be able to resist one of the enemy's overwhelming armies. Soon, the whole Kusagakure village began moving like a rusted machine. Ninjas who had been asleep were gradually woken. However, many ninjas in Kusagakure village felt it was ridiculous. But it seems that reality is there in front of them. A war seems to have arrived in just one night. Kusagakure village faced two disruptions. The first disruption occurred when almost all of the Anbu from Kusagakure village left, which is considered a minor disruption in a ninja village. The second disruption occurred when the village alarm was activated, and the piercing alarm bell rang throughout Kusagakure village. Any ninja who has been in a battle would be quite acquainted with this kind of alert. It may even be described as PTSD. This is an alert for a foreign invasion. Someone is invading Kusagakure village at night. The people of the village also awoke. A group of citizens, although not knowing what had occurred, knew that if they were to live, they needed to go to the shelter in the back mountain as quickly as possible. Gurarararara. What a small village. Whitebeard's observation haki quickly spread throughout Kusagakure village. He discovered that this community was just a tenth the size of Konohagakure community. Konohagakure village was not very large to begin with. Unexpectedly, there are smaller ninja settlements in the ninja world. The alarm bell is so loud. But being discovered is within reason. If we weren't discovered, that would probably be a big problem. Kakashi hopelessly opened one lifeless fisheye. He conveyed a sense of having nothing to live for. Logically speaking, if you want to retaliate against a ninja village, you need first gather information about it. It would be preferable to send some ninjas inside and have them answer from inside the ninja village. In this technique, you may enter the human community quietly. But Kakashi discovered that Whitebeard did not believe so. Whitebeard has been strolling freely on the route from start to finish. As if he didn't have the term sneak in his vocabulary. There is no term for low-key either, so they were found by Kusagakure village. Big sister, you don't have to be afraid. Naruto, the youngest, was reassuring Uzumaki Fu, who was in her 20s. My pops is a very powerful great pirate. We Whitebeard pirates will definitely teach these bad guys a lesson. In Naruto's opinion, the ninjas in Grass Ninja Village who tormented a mother and daughter like Wei are clearly nasty individuals. Uzumaki Fushi can only answer to Naruto with a grin right now. She gazed at the heavily locked entrance of Kusagakure village. Karen. Uzumaki Fushi clenched her hands firmly. She knew there was no going back when she drew her bow. Karen's escape from the lair of evil is dependent on the giant from Leaf community's ability to endure a whole ninja community. She was aware that her present views were too innocent and fantastical. But other than that, she had no other options. Could it be that she had to witness her own daughter face the same dire position as herself? I'll go as bait. Uzumaki Fushi's lips became white. When they put their attention on me, you guys can, she replied forcefully. Before she finished talking, she was astonished. Because Whitebeard had already stepped forward, he disregarded Uzumaki Fushi. His large coat swirled in the night breeze. Gurararara, Whitebeard said, laughing. Opening a door shouldn't be so difficult. At the same time, the two genin protecting Kusagakure village's entrance recognized something was awry when they saw Whitebeard raise his large sword. Not good. The two genin begged for air. Their features transformed dramatically. They leapt down from atop the high wall, as if fleeing for their life. At that moment, Whitebeard's sword had already sliced out. Whitebeard's sword could pass through the gates of Konohagakure, much alone the smaller gates of Kusagakure village. There was simply one loud bang. The gate to Kusagakure village crumbled with a crash. Ha ha ha. Whitebeard's loud laughter boomed in the skies over Kusagakure town. So it's you little ninjas in this village who want my head, huh? Swish. 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 Ninjas from Kusagakure village emerged one by one on top of the high wall. They were the ninjas who had gotten instructions from Kusagakure village's chief. They stared at the fallen ninja village gate, then at the big and strong Whitebeard in front of them. They were startled and furious. Despite their modest size, they were nonetheless a ninja village. In the broad realm of ninjas, nations with ninja villages are uncommon. Under regular conditions, particularly during non-war years, nobody would attempt to break into a ninja community forcefully, because it would entail becoming an enemy of all the ninjas in a ninja village, as well as causing a significant diplomatic crisis. But tonight, something occurred. Suddenly, an individual emerged amid a bunch of ninjas. He was a middle-aged guy with a little beard on his chin. He was wearing the Kusagakure village fighting uniform and was shielded by a couple Anbu members. It's the leader. A bunch of Kusagakure village ninjas yelled, surprised. This guy was Kusagakure village's leader. The Kusagakure village chief had a dismal expression. He initially sought to establish his own image as the chief of a ninja community. But now when his dismal sight met Whitebeard's piercing look in midair, his mind was startled. His aura quickly faded. There were no comparisons at all. The Kusagakure village's chief struggled hard to control his emotions and scowled at Whitebeard and Kakashi through clenched teeth. He yelled, "Giant! And Konohagakure ninja! Do you know that your actions are invading the Kusagakure village? In non-war periods, your Konohagakure village is making aggressive actions. You will face trial in the ninja world's military court." One after another, large pots that could not be carried were strapped down. Kakashi's expression was full of hopelessness. He did not want to come here either. However, he had no option. Kid, calling a middle-aged guy with a beard, kid, is no issue for Whitebeard. He smiled and chuckled domineeringly. Are you stupid? It's not Konohagakure village that's invading you. Huh, the Kusagakure village head said, surprised. What exactly does giant mean? Gurararara, Whitebeard said. The Whitebeard pirates are here to conquer your village. Whitebeard, who was carrying Murakumogiri in both hands, assumed an attack position as soon as his voice was heard. Also, at the moment, the chieftain of Kusagakure village felt a profound feeling of crisis. He didn't even have time to consider how powerful Whitebeard pirates are. His survival instinct told him to get out of here as soon as possible. Bang! The earth under Whitebeard's feet crumbled immediately. When he reappeared, he was already approaching the towering wall in front of the fallen entrance of Kusagakure village. Murakumogiri, under Whitebeard's amazing force, swung so hard that its long hilt bent. The massive Murakumogiri is completely black, wrapped with armament haki. Majestic. Nobody can stop it. Gurarararara. Remember, this is Whitebeard pirates. Konohagakure, there is some temporal difference between Land of Grass and Land of Fire. It is 4 a.m. in the Land of Grass, which is precisely 2 p.m. in the Land of Fire. The Konohagakure Intelligence Department seems to have gotten some news. They burst immediately. A Junin ninja from the Konohagakure Intelligence Department raced to Konohagakure Hospital with a translated telegram. He didn't care whether the third Hokage was sleeping or not. He pushed open the ward's entrance with one hand. He said in amazement, "Hokage-sama, something bad has happened." "Hokage-sama, there's a big problem." A Jonin from the Konohagakure Intelligence Department had just opened the ward's door, only to discover that the third Hokage was not sleeping, but rather half sitting on a bed. He also saw a little ninja dog in the Hokage's arms. The ninja dog really spoke human language. "That's how it is. This is what Kakashi asked me to bring back. More detailed information is in that scroll." I see." Sarutobi Hiruzen's eyes exhibited an unusually melancholy expression. Completely different from his typical friendly demeanor. The aura of a ruler was only present at this period. Sarutobi Hiruzen did not anticipate that. Just as he was ready to heal, a ninja dog from Kakashi delivered such dreadful news. He felt that when Whitebeard took Naruto out of Konohagakure, that was the end of it. He hadn't expected him to take Naruto out of the Land of Fire. This merely hit another bottom line for Konohagakure. What's more surprising is that Whitebeard is such a true pirate. He held 2 towns in the Land of Fire, and boldly proclaimed that the Whitebeard pirates would henceforth guard those 2 settlements. From now on, the 2 villages in the Land of Fire must pay a protection fee to the Whitebeard pirates. What is the difference between this and conquering lands? What is the difference between this and beginning a war? Does that damn pirate take Konohagakure into account? Does he take the daimyo and nobility of the Land of Fire into account? Audacious. Brazen. Sarutobi Hiruzen, unable to control his racing thoughts, looked at the Jonin from the Konohagakure Intelligence Department and asked, "What happened?" The Jonin of the Konohagakure Intelligence Department instantly handed over the translated telegraph text to Sarutobi Hiruzen, who was half sitting on the bed, and concluded, "Hokage-sama, this is a telegram from Kusagakure." Kusagakure? Sarutobi Hiruzen's dismal expression abruptly froze. Why is Kusagakure sending an urgent telegraph in the middle of the night? He unfurled the paper and examined it. His aged features instantly became brightly colored. "Is this how Kakashi watches over Whitebeard and Naruto?" he said, his face flushed crimson, green, and blue. He actually invaded Kusagakure with Whitebeard? Sarutobi Hiruzen was shocked. "Wait, Whitebeard, you want to invade a ninja village with Naruto? This is awful. If it were only Whitebeard, it would be alright, but he brought along Hitaki Kakashi and Uzumaki Naruto. The former is a Jonin from Konohagakure's Anbu. The latter is Konohagakure's Jinchuriki. In this circumstance, will Kusagakure assume Konoha is behind the invasion? If word spreads, will the whole ninja world believe Konohagakure has lofty goals and intends to spark the 4th Great Ninja War? Whitebeard did. Does he want Konohagakure to accept the blame? Whitebeard. Sarutobi Hiruzen struggled to gather his breath. He clenched his teeth and yanked this nickname from his tongue, hoping he could tear Whitebeard to bits. However, he instantly realized, faced with such a big incident that may potentially spark a war, the present Konohagakure had no idea how to stop it. The Grass Nation is definitely a neighboring nation to the Land of Fire. The difficulty is, will the people who are sent to the Land of Grass arrive in time? Land of Grass. Kusagakure Whitebeard, holding the Murakumogiri, delivered a tremendous and devastating cut that no one in Kusagakure could block. The horrific cyclone unleashed by Murakumogiri was unstoppable. In an instant, Whitebeard's cut smashed the whole front wall of the Kusagakure, sending shockwaves in all directions. The Kusagakure ninjas standing on it, unable to respond, were struck with an unparalleled blow. Their expressions transformed dramatically, and they vomited a mouthful of scarlet blood. A number of Kusagakure ninjas were blown away. They dropped all over the area, like scattered flowers. The wind pressure from this powerful cut was more akin to a swordsman's blow, and a brilliant white light burst in the sky above Kusagakure. Swish! In Kusagakure, all constructions taller than 15 meters were chopped off. The whole ninja village seemed to have been shaven off. At first sight, it seems quite flat. Bang. The typhoon swept away a Chunin from Kusagakure and landed severely on a residence in the hamlet. He had already vomited a mouthful of old blood in midair, and he couldn't stop himself from vomiting another mouthful of new blood. His whole physique was in awful condition. Monster, monster. When he attempted to stand, his face was already filled with fearful emotions. Kusagakure's commander was one of the few who survived the explosion. He hastily concealed with a few Anbu comrades surrounding him at a crucial time. He didn't anticipate his awful dream to come true. If he had concealed even 1 second later, there would undoubtedly be significant difficulty. Kusagakure's commander landed on a village house's roof. The gusting breeze on his face caused his skin to shake slightly. Everything in his area of view was a jumble. Gulp. Kusagakure's commander heard the sound of saliva being swallowed. It came from the Anbu member next to him. He did not punish him since, as the chief of the Kusagakure, he, too, expressed profound terror. Gurarararara. Whitebeard's booming voice reached every ninja in Kusagakure. Little ninja brats, don't you really want my head? Undoubtedly, that is the most terrible death signal. Under his powerful slash, scared the whole ninja village. You're the head of this ninja village, right? Whitebeard's scornful look swept over the Kusagakure chief, causing his hair to stand on end and cold perspiration to pour from his forehead and back. Whitebeard grinned unexpectedly. Since you want to take my head, let me see how much the strongest force in your broken village weighs. What? Is this behemoth going after him? Wait a minute. The Kusagakure chief became pale with fear and said, "We have captives here, do not act rashly." He glanced at Anbu beside him and said angrily, "Bring that red-haired brat over here. No, not just her. Bring all the village's underage youth over here. Use those brats as hostages." A ninja village chief uses his own community's youngsters as captives to intimidate outsiders. This type of operation is unprecedented. It merely disrupts people's bottom-line thinking. But, seeing what type of monster is infiltrating Kusagakure, the Kusagakure commander is unconcerned about morality or immorality. Anyway, he lacks morals. Hey, isn't that going too far? Kakashi widened his gaze. Using your own village's children as hostages to threaten foreign enemies, what's wrong with this village's thinking? Karen. Uzumaki Fushi instantly remembered her daughter. She had no clue how low the grass ninja leader's morals was. Naruto's eyes expanded, and his youthful mind was completely stunned. Big bad guy. Naruto clenched his teeth. The Kusagakure chief saw the approaching calamity but couldn't care less. The dishonest Anbu members of Kusagakure saw nothing wrong with the leader's actions. The village's mentality is troublesome. Not one ninja is normal. Giant, if you dare to go 1 foot forward, we will slaughter every child in this community. The Kusagakure commander yelled with a pallid face. Wait. Why do you still dare to march forward? The Kusagakure leader's eyes widened. He acknowledged to being panicked. Ninja brat, are you endangering the lives of your village comrades by threatening a pirate? You should be aware that even pirates adhere to seafaring standards. You are worse than a pirate. Whitebeard's eyes narrowed slightly. His aura resembled that of the king of hell. The air surrounding him twisted in waves, and a malicious purpose pervaded Kusagakure. Do you think such a stupid threat will cause me to retract half a step? I'm a pirate. Suddenly, black arcs appeared around Whitebeard's torso. The renowned conqueror's hockey wraps around. For the first time, it debuted in Ninja World. I am Whitebeard. To be continued. If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to hit that like button and smash that subscribe for more amazing videos.